What's going on, guys? If you haven't seen the other video yet, you might have noticed I've kind of gotten into the CNC plasma cutting game. A bunch of people are doing it. I kind of honestly just bought it for myself. But I mean, if I can help you guys out, even better. So I'm eventually going to start doing probably full frames. I'm probably going to get back into doing more full frame wraps myself. But I'm probably going to eventually start offering some kits. See a lot of stuff in the kits that people miss. Also, I see a lot of people complaining when they do order a kit from another company, it doesn't give any kind of instructions whatsoever of where anything goes. If you look at a pile of templates, I mean, you can figure it out. It adds a lot of time, and if this is your first time, probably gonna struggle. So this video can go one of two ways for you. It can be just pure entertainment, a little bit of knowledge, or it'll also double as a how-to video if you bought these from me. And if you did, I appreciate it. Even if you didn't, I appreciate you watching the video. This kit here is going to offer reinforcements for your lower A-arm mounts. Kind of something a lot of people overlook. And in real actuality, this is where most of the stress is going to be taking place. You got your cylinder in here and it is pumping out a ton of PSI. It's running right into your lower mounts. So, I've seen a lot of them rip. I've seen these break off. I've seen them bend. So we're going to kind of address that situation. So this is what you'll be getting in the kit. It'll have one plate for the rear of the front mounts. 2 plates for the front of the rear mounts, 2 plates for the rear of the rear mounts, if that makes sense, and another single plate for the back side of the rear mount. But I'll show you how it all goes in. First things first, after you get all the suspension stripped down, really you want to get everything cleaned as best as you can. Don't recommend using brake cleaner. That stuff can give off a deadly gas when you start welding, get you pretty sick, maybe even kill you. So don't use that. Usually what I use is just wipe it down. Try and get all the grease off just with a rag the best I can. Bring a wire wheel. Usually get these from Harbor Freight. They're cheap. They're supposed to be for a drill. I put them on a die grinder. They work pretty good. The bristles do fly out, so definitely wear safety glasses. 4-inch grinder also works pretty good. Just be really careful getting into the tight areas. If you're on the wrong side of the blade, it'll kick it back at you. So be careful of that. You can get hurt pretty good. But we got them all cleaned up. Like I said, I mainly just use the die grinder, get in there really good, got everything clean. So we're gonna start bending the metal, basically show you where to start and how it's all done. So we're gonna start with a front mount. This is just the back side. The front side, you usually wrap it when you're wrapping the belly. Hopefully in the future, I'll be offering belly plates also. As of right now, I just got this. Or maybe you're watching this in the future and I have it all. Message me to find out, I guess. But where we'll start. This one fits just right in here. Kind of looks like a little football, if you will. It almost can go one of 2 ways, but it really fits best just one way, so kind of play with it and figure it out. The hole is a little bit offset to the back side of it, I guess is the easiest way to say it, to line it up. So we're going to get that in place. What I'm going to do, unfortunately I don't have any used bushings, so I had to go buy a brand new bushing. But you can pop your bushings out of your A-arms. Honestly, you could probably put your A-arm back in here with your bushing in it, as long as you can get around it. But basically what we're gonna do is stick it in here, kind of keep that from moving. Plus we're gonna use that to hold this really tight and kind of form it more to the frame. But mainly it's all gonna be in there just to keep everything where it needs to be, keep it from warping up when we're welding. Like I said, best to use a used bushing, but I don't have any right now, so we're gonna use this. Now this can be done with the car on the body, obviously. I just have it on a rotisserie because I'm doing a full wrap. If you wanna learn how to make a rotisserie, I do have a video for that. I'll put it in the link above. But also, like I said, you can do it on a car. This backside, it will be tricky. You may have noticed I already took this little crossbar off. We'll probably have to do some modifications to it because I'm going to be wrapping up here on the frame so I actually raise it. But I'm going to cross that bridge as I get there. But yeah, it can be done on the vehicle. I'll try to go back through my Fleetwood videos. I did do it on my Fleetwood and I did reinforce that on the frame. The backside, it will be a little bit of a nightmare. You may have to take your exhaust off. I don't exactly remember how much room is back there, but it'll be tight, I can guarantee that. But the sides, definitely doable. So we got our bushing in the hole. It is a tight fit. I wouldn't recommend grinding your bushings down because you want them to be a tight fit. And if you grind it down, when you go to close this up, it could close this gap up, just kind of make things overall not better. So, do what you can, get them in there. I had to tap this one with a hammer. That's why I don't really recommend using a brand new bushing. And another thing you can do, once you start to get it lined up, you can use a lineup bar, crow's foot, ladies crow foot, whatever everybody calls them. Basically just stick in what you can to the bushing and pull it in the center. And it usually gets them lined up pretty good. But we're gonna go ahead and throw our bolt through there, put our plate on there, tighten it tight. That way it gets a good form to the frame. Go ahead and burn it in. I think what I'm gonna do is just run a bead down here first and then hit it again with the impact. or a socket if that's what you got. That way we get a little bit of heat in there, and it'll help kind of pull that in a little bit easier. And then we'll burn around the edges. So we got our bolt in there. I still do have it a little bit loose. Actually, we got it pretty good loose. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to line it up right there. I'm going to run me a bead down there to soak some heat into it. And then I'm going to use my impact and pull it in tight. Tap that in with a hammer, get it close, and then burn it all in. I would recommend beveling your edges on all your outside edges, I guess, the easiest way to put it. That way you get a good penetration, especially if you're going to be molding them. That way you're not grinding off your weld. But we're going to go ahead and get this in position and tack it up. And then run a bead down the front of this. And while it's still warm, we're going to hit it with the Ugga Duggas and pull that bottom in good and tight. Just like that. Grab our hammer and knock this bottom in. And knock the top in. Probably put me a few tacks. Probably just burn that in. Maybe burn from there. And put a tack there, so pull that bolt out and make it a little bit easier to get to. Now we got our bolt out. I'm going to weld down the front. Well, weld down the back, I guess is the easiest way to put it. And I'm going to try and stay out of you guys' way. I can't guarantee that, but I'm kind of more over having a good weld than being able to show this. So let's get started. Top it off with that little piece right there. First one is done. I can smell that bushing getting warm. Once again, use used bushings. Now we got our first one all welded up. I'm going to leave that bushing in there, kind of let it cool off on its own as much as I can. Really probably let it cool down to the touch. But that doesn't mean you have to stop the progress. We can start moving over to this side, start bending up the metal. I can throw a bolt through there, kind of start fitting it up. More likely I'm going to wait to get that bushing in there, that way I just don't have to fight it twice. But by the time we get all this bent up, this should pretty well be good and cooled off. So we'll be good to pull it out, put it in on this side, or if you have 2 extra bushings, you can just keep on moving. So we're going to start tackling the front of the rear mount. This piece right here, we got to put a little kick on it, kind of resemble this right here. You can cut that off, straighten it out if you want to, but I would honestly leave it on there because it's going to kind of help push your bushing into alignment and make it a little bit easier to get it started. Definitely recommend keeping it. So what we're going to do, lay it up there, put a little soapstone mark, go to our vise, grab a big adjustable wrench, pull it. We'll get this one shaped to fit, move on to the back, get it bent also, kind of get everything in line where it needs to be, and we'll transfer our bushing over and start burning the stuff together. Here's our bracket sitting in place. You can see what I was talking about right there, how that needs to be kicked out. So we'll just draw us a little line with a piece of soapstone, go over to the vise and bend it out. Got it set up in the vise. I just got this little piece sticking out. I say this in every video that I do any kind of bending of metal in. Get yourself a 24-inch adjustable wrench. They're awesome. I got some Harbor Freight. I think it was maybe 24 bucks, 30 bucks. Not sure, but totally worth it. I'm going to try and use it on here. It may be a little bit too narrow to use it, so I may have to use a hammer. Also, you can use a hammer. But yeah, I'm going to try the adjustable wrench, and worst case scenario, use a hammer. Either way, just we need to get it bent over. Doesn't matter how we do it. Let's try the old wrench first. I got faith in it. We don't have to go a whole lot, so that's a good thing about it. Not having much to grit. We'll test that and see how it fits. Well, we went a little bit too much, but that's all right. Don't be afraid to overbend stuff. You can bend it back. We'll probably use a pair of clamps and close that up once we get our bushing in there. This is just kind of a starting phase, so we're looking good everywhere else. We'll move on to this back side, do the same thing, set it in there, bend it. So now we're going to move on to our rearmost mount. This is the one closest to the back of the car. You're going to use that little bracket right there. It just sits in there just like so. And again, we need to put a little bend on this. So we're going to mark it with our soapstone, go over to the vise, put a bend in it, and fit it up. We'll have to use the hammer on that one. It turned out pretty good. We'll have to tap that in just a little bit, but I do like how nicely it did that bend right there. So I'm pretty happy. Once we start burning all this in and getting some heat, we'll tap that back in with a hammer and make it a little bit softer. So we got our bolt in there, got everything lined up, got our bushing obviously. I haven't totally tightened it down. It's just a little over hand tight right now. Just so I can kind of wiggle everything around and get it right where I wanted. As I said before, we still do have a little bit of a gap. Honestly, you could weld that up and it'd be all right, but I'm probably gonna tap it back. I'm gonna tap that in once I get probably weld down here, weld up here, get some heat in it, and then tap that in just a little bit more. But so far it's looking good, so we're gonna start burning it on. Those are up just a little bit. Now we'll move on to our back. We'll throw our clamps on there and pull it a little tight. They're not wanting to move in as easily as I thought they were. Like I said, that ain't really that big of a gap. Now I'm gonna wait on my bottom because I do need to pull the backs. Well, this one I can go ahead and burn in, I suppose. But we got a back plate that's going on there, and if I need to manipulate this at all, I want to be able to have that available. I also didn't burn in right here, just for that same reason. So we're gonna go ahead and go around to the back, and I'll show you how to put that plate in. So this is the back side, inside of the frame. As you can see, it's kind of bowed out a little bit, but it'll be all right. We'll just pull them back in. That's why I didn't want to weld the bottoms at all. That'll work. I might tap that with a hammer so you can get the curve a little bit. But I'm also going to line it up with our bracket here. This is your back bracket. I went ahead and pre-bent it. You can see a little bend in there. Basically what I did, I just put it on there when it was straight. I went from this corner over here to this corner. You can kind of feel it. You can actually kind of see when the paint was on there still, where the bend crease was. So I just made 2 marks and kind of mimic that. Same thing as the other one, put it in the vise, bend it over. Now, I put this hole in here for a reason. That way you can put a bolt in there. You could use a clamp. Either or will suffice. But basically, I'm gonna bolt it on there and kind of get it into position where we want. Start tacking it, start burning in. So one thing I noticed as I started pulling those in, it was actually bowing that out just a little bit. I could watch the bushing surface deflect. So I am gonna go ahead and burn that in. Once again, it'll also put heat in this too, and I'm gonna close this gap up. So I went ahead and welded about 3/4 of the way down on each side. That allowed me to pull that in, put a tack on it. I just hit that in with a hammer. It rolled over nicely. So I'm gonna start putting our back plate on there. You could go ahead and weld that fully if you wanted to. It ain't really gonna have too much of a problem with interfering with your back plate unless you just have a really high weld. But I'm gonna just put the back plate on there and kind of burn it all in at one time. We'll get that pretty much mounted level with the top of our spring mount. Throw a little tack in there. Throw another little tack in there. I'm gonna actually run a little bead across there. I'm gonna try and tap those sides in just a little bit, close that gap just a tad, and then I'm gonna start running my beads down and pushing this in. Like that. Now we'll start running our bead down and we'll move up to the front and do the same thing. So we got that burned in all the way down. Burned it to about right there. I hit it with a hammer and closed it in a little bit more. I did leave a gap. Basically what I did, I left enough of a gap to be able to get my wire in there, and I burned into the original piece and then just brought it up to tie into the two new pieces. That way it kind of fuses everything all together. Just ran that all the way down. Now we're gonna run a bead, finish that off, and I got one more going under here. And there's the finished product. I did go ahead and weld the inside of that. Basically what I did is I just did all the outside, that way I kind of get some heat in there, burn all the grease and whatnot in there off. I did go in there with the wire brush on the grinder again. Got it clean, as you can see in that very back spot. There still was a little bit of dirt that I thought, but it got out pretty good. Went ahead and welded the front also. But we got her all plated up. So now if you wanted to mold it, you can mold it. I'm just gonna leave this and we're gonna get on the other side and finish it up. And there's a quick shot of the back. Got it all tied in. So you got half the frame done now. All you gotta do is finish the rest. Same here. Don't really see any reason showing you guys that. It's the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna end the video here. Appreciate you guys watching. If you bought a kit, thank you as well. And also thanks for watching. As I said earlier, I am eventually gonna have more kits available. This is just the first of right now. You may have seen the video for the upper ears, may not, depends on if I post them or not. If I already have, I'll put another link up in the top for them. I'm gonna sell those as a kit also, and I've got a video on showing how to make a jig. Not really gonna sell a jig as a kit. It's kind of something you're gonna need to do just in case your frame is just a tad bit different. Shouldn't be, but these things were mass produced. As of right now, I've just got Cadillac stuff, Cadillac Dan. You can maybe talk to like Regal Ray. I'm just kidding, that's a made up name. That's a pretty cool name. If your name's Ray, get a Regal. Actually, Ray, get a Regal. We'll build it. But next to the Elko. But anyways, yeah, I just got Cadillac stuff right now. If I come across some G-body frames, I am on the lookout. I'm not going to pay anything for them. So, I mean, if you got like a frame you want $1,000 for, don't hit me up. I got some guys out looking around me. It doesn't have to be a body. I'm just looking for a frame. So, I'm going to source something locally here, start building some stuff off of that. But until now, mainly just Cadillac stuff. To get up with me, hit me up on Facebook, leave a comment. Really, all honesty, the easiest way is Facebook. You can also email me, the CadillacDanShow@gmail.com, all one word, no spacing or nothing like that. But really, like I said, Facebook is the best way. Just look me up under Cadillac Dan. People are surprised that I actually respond. I mean, I'm just a dude, you know, I ain't no celebrity or nothing like that. I'm just a dude who works in his garage and builds cars. So if you have any questions, you buy a kit, you're having some kind of difficulty, hit me up, you know, send some pictures, you know, kind of walk you through it, see if we can figure something out. It's a pretty well straightforward kit. You know, it's kind of like beginner level of reinforcement. So I really don't think you should have too many problems. But if you do, you know, I am here. Just hit me up. So that's where I'm going to leave the video. If you liked it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Got plenty of frame episodes coming up. This is a pretty much 100% how-to on a frame. I think the only thing I didn't really cover was the middle of the doors. Probably should have, but I was in work mode and I was rolling with it. But I'll kind of give it a once over once I'm done with the frame and kind of, you know, talk on some of the stuff that I didn't show. It's pretty well straightforward. But yeah, until then, we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you watching again.
What seems to be the problem?
Good shot. Got away free. It lives to die another day.